outfield hitters to lead the ball game for Stamford, Connecticut. Eric Smith, right-hander on the mound for Marietta, and Earl Weaver. The biggest problem, I would think, for any one of these youngsters is how to keep yourself under control in the first few minutes.
I would think the hearts are really going pitter-patter. I know mine would be if I were out there. Some pretty big boys out there, Keith.
2 balls and 1 strike to Chris Forte. That is low. Make it 3-1 now, and Smith getting in a little trouble with the leadoff hitter, who seems like a very patient youngster.
Well, when I played, it wasn't Little League baseball, but it was amateur baseball in St. Louis. I was the leadoff man and never allowed to swing at a 3-1 pitch.
He swung at a bad pitch there, breaking pitch that was inside on the hands, and the count is full now at 3-2.
But he had a very good cut.
Greg Padilla will be the cleanup hitter and playing right field for Stamford. He is also the leading pitcher for the Stamford, Connecticut team. But right now it's Chris Forte and Eric Smith, and Forte pulls it foul down past third base. Perfect weather, good crowd, and as you would expect at the Little League World Series, more enthusiasm than you can possibly imagine.
It's like a major league crowd, Keith, but the bases and the outfield fence seem a little strong. There's base on balls. That's the best way to get yourself in trouble right off, but I'm sure there's a little nervousness out on that mound and at home plate and all over the field, too.
It's 204 feet all the way around here at Lomedy Stadium in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Howard J. Lomedy Stadium. Coming to the plate now, the shortstop for the Connecticut team, Lou Robertino. And Smith still can't find the strike zone with consistency as he comes high and tight for ball 1.
Seems to be throwing loose. He doesn't seem to be aiming the ball. And right now, Keith, I guess it's the best time to explain that in Little League baseball, the runner at first base cannot leave the base until the ball passes the hitter.
Which, in fact, puts a little additional pressure on the catcher.
Well, yes, it does. If they steal from that on, he's got a bad arm, right? They're stealing on the catcher every time in Little League baseball.
To the shortstop. Good play to second to get the lead man. Ken Carlson over to Joe Hutchinson, and the lead runners erase on the fielder's choice, and 1 down.
Wasn't an easy play. The ball wasn't hit hard, but it got to him on a short hop. Had to take his time. He got himself set. Gave his second baseman a real good throw, and there's 1 out.
Here is Brian McLaughlin, the center fielder, whose only home run in Little League play this year came in the regional playoffs, and guess what? It was a big grand slam. What do you think about it? Batting from the left side. 1 out and 1 on. Robertino on first base. Smith's pitch is inside. Jeff Estes, the battery mate for Eric Smith. Defensively, Adam Olmstead at third, Ken Carlson at short, Joe Hutchinson second, and Mark Peixoto at first. Gurnett, Atkins, Langley, the outfield. He was late with his swing, and it's 1-2.
Well, they're having good cuts. They're not just trying to meet the ball. It looks like they all have the fences in mind as they let it go.
The semifinal game between the South and the East, Marietta, Georgia, the home team, and Stamford, Connecticut, the visiting team. And the count is even now at 2-2 on Brian McLaughlin. That's spelled M-A-Y-G-L-O-T-H-L-I-N-G. And the pitch is high and away. So now he goes full to the second batter in this top of the first inning. Greg Padilla, the big man, is on deck. Oh, 4. Like I said, the nerves are right in the end of the finger.
Yes, they are. Smith's getting himself in a little trouble. That pitch was close. It was a little bit low, but it was a tough one to take on 3-2. I think it could have been called either way.
The plate umpire is Ruben Diaz. There are 6 umpires, 1 at each base and 1 down the line on each side. That's ball 1.
Smith continues to be low out of the strike zone, I think probably that's a lot better than being high out of the strike zone, because the pitches up usually go over the fence.
He's thrown 17 so far here in the top of the first inning. There's a strike, a breaking pitch. One out and 2 on for Stamford, Connecticut in the top of the first inning. High into center field. Hit well. Hit well. It's gone. Padilla delivers. And Stamford, Connecticut gets out in front 3-0 as Eric Smith walked through, and then Padilla reached him for the home run that just cleared the reach of the center fielder.
That was pitch. He finally got up. Here's the pitch. He finally got it up. It was on the outside half of the plate, a little above the belt. Padilla had good wood on it. I think he knew it was gone all the way. We see the center fielder coming back, and it was out of the park by a good 8-10 feet.
And so Stamford, Connecticut leads 3-0 as Sal DePreda, the third baseman, stands in, swings and fouls it back. Over the years that I have come here to Williamsport for the Little League World Series, I haven't seen that many home runs. They normally don't hit that many.
Well, this is my first experience, and I got to see a 3-runner. Base hit to left field.
Hit sharply. The left fielder Langley brings it back in, and DePreda is aboard, and it's a rough first inning for Eric Smith.
You know, Keith, that 3-run homer is my favorite weapon.
Yes, I do. I know that. This is Mark Baldiga coming to the plate, the second baseman, the number 6 man in the batting order. And DePreda on first base. And now you've got the coach of Marietta coming out, Richard Hilton.
You gotta hold on to it.
I know, I hung it.
What's the trouble?
Nothing. I kept the ball over that guy.
That ball you hit out was high now. Come on, get the ball down. Hey, let's go.
It was, in fact, high.
The pitch was high. We've got a very disappointed boy out on the mound, Eric Smith, right now. Both the coach and the pitcher themselves are trying to figure out what's wrong, but I think he'll settle down.
Baldiga from the left side, and the pitch is inside.
We've got the first baseman, Mark Pisciata, he's playing in on the grass. I don't know if he's expecting a sacrifice or if this is a fellow that hits the ball to the opposite field.
Fouls that one back.
In fact, the big fellow that's on the screen right now, Mark Pisciata, is one of the Marietta pitchers.
Their best one, they say.
6 foot 2 inches tall.
Yeah, he's a big one. Ate all of his cornbread. High fastball, swing and a miss by Baldiga, and the count 1-2. Pisciata pitched in the quarterfinal game, so he's not eligible to make an appearance today under the rules of Little League. You got to have 3 days of rest. That pitch is outside to make it 2-2. And now Eric Smith is up to 30 pitches for the top of the first inning.
That's a lot of pitches in the first inning, but sometimes after a home run like that, you can settle down.
That's nubbed just foul enough to go out of play.
6-inning ball games and complete ball games are quite common in Little League baseball.
Brian Chartier, the first baseman, is waiting on deck for Stamford, Connecticut, as they lead by a score of 3-0 on Padilla's 3-run home run. And that pitch almost went to the backstop. Good stop by Jeff Estes, who's a bit of a rangy youngster himself behind the plate. You can see that he can eyeball the umpire, Ruben Diaz.
Yes, he does.
He is. The third full count. And the third walk issued by Eric Smith as Baldiga goes to first base, and that'll bring up Brian Chartier. Now, he's about as big as a minute. He presents a very small target for the pitcher, and again, Dick Hilton's out there to talk to him.
Short and let Kenny go to center and John to right.
He's going to make a pitching change. Eric Smith just could not get the job done for Marietta, Georgia. And so David Gurnett comes in to relieve him from right field. We'll be right back.
Grab on, everyone. Going. I give up, Grandpa Little. How do we stop it? This is our floor, John.
So the second pitcher in the top of the first inning on now for Marietta. It is the young man who started in right field. The ball bounding away there at home plate. And the runner at second base moves up. So David Gurnett comes in from right field in relief of Eric Smith. And over to third base, the lead runner, DePreta. As the ball got away, the runner breaks and goes to second. The ball bounces. The runner comes from third. The plate is blocked. The ball gets away. He is saved. Throw down the left field line. That's going to get another run in. It's 5-0. Stamford, Connecticut, and the sky is about to fall on Marietta.
Well, we're sure that Marietta didn't play this type of baseball to get to the semifinals. I know that they're nervous out there. What they needed was one hard hit ball right at one of the infielders to get a double play to get out of the inning, and maybe things would have settled down. Now, the Marietta Ball Club has to tell themselves we're starting from scratch. We got to get 2 outs. We got to go in. We got to take the offense and see if we can get back in this ball game.
It is 5-0 with 1 out. And the Marietta defense collapsing on that series of mistakes, as they made 2 errors, allowing 2 runs to one to set up, and then the other one allowed 2 runs to come home.
Well, they started it with the old double steal play. Seemed to catch Estes kind of sleeping. He was a little late throwing it down to second base.
That's foul straight back.
That foul went right over our heads, Keith. We got a chance of catching one here, I think.
It's like Fenway. You're right at it. Brian Chartier now with a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. And David Gurnett gets a fastball over the corner for strike 3 call. That's the second out. Tom Pierce now, the pitcher hitting in the number 8 position in the batting order for Stamford, Connecticut, comes to the plate. And he's got to be feeling pretty happy with 5 big runs to work with.
I would think so, and I think his coach might say to him before he takes that mound, we've got 5 to work with. Let's make sure we throw strikes. Something that Eric Smith didn't do starting off the ball game.
Foul ball right side.
Gurnett seems to be throwing the ball pretty hard.
Three walks, a fielder's choice, a 3-run home run, and then a succession of errors, and it was over for Eric Smith. Pitch is up high. 2 balls and a strike now to Tom Pierce. 5-0 Stamford, Connecticut, representing the Eastern Regional. He swung at a bad pitch. The pitch was well off the plate. 2-2.
Looked like a little breaking ball, Keith. Looked like it might have been a little bit of a slider. Seemed to be the center of the plate and broke outside.
Inside with it, and it's a full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And things are not going well for the Marietta pitchers right now. That's fouled away.
We've got the end of the order up right now for the Eastern representative. But it seems Dave Gurnett is throwing the ball hard enough so that they're not getting around on him right now.
Well, he walks one. Walks the pitcher, Tom Pierce. That is the 4th base on balls in this inning, and Dan Kozak comes to the plate. Kozak, stockily built youngster, the catcher for Stamford, Connecticut. Looks strong, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Built a little bit like Roy Campanella. an interesting stance. He's got that front toe. He's got the weight all on the back foot. Front toes pointed a little bit toward the ground with the heel off of the ground in the air.
In the tournament,
Get a good look at it right here.
In the tournament, Earl, he's hitting .292, but he's hitting with some power. He has 3 RBIs and 4 home runs in regional play.
Well, he looks like he can hit the ball 210 feet.
1-2 the count. Slowed up and got him looking. So Granate comes on in relief of Smith and does his job. He gets him out, but there was a lot of damage done for Marietta's hopes as Stamford, Connecticut takes a 5-0 lead after the top of the first inning. Howard J. Lombardi Stadium, Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Semifinals, Little League World Series. Stamford, Connecticut, and Marietta, Georgia. East and South regional representatives. Stamford scoring 5 times in the top of the first inning, leading 5-0. Marietta coming to the plate now, trying to come back in the bottom of the third. And this is the second time around for the Marietta batting order against Tom Piersa. And at the top of the order, Adam Olmsted, third baseman, to be followed by Mike Langley and Mark Pisciotta. And Olmsted with a swinging strike. Foul tipped it just enough to get it beyond the catcher. Tom Piersa on the mound for Stamford, Connecticut, and Dan Kozak back at the plate.
Olmsted beat out a bunt the first time up, and as a result, he's got Sal DePetria in real close. He tried it again. It's going to be close.
Ball is thrown away down the right field side, and Olmsted will go to second base. So he puts the ball down, and they can't make the play.
A lot of major league managers like that type of baseball. Get on base so that you can at least have somebody out there so you can get yourself back in the ball game. Last time he bunted down the third baseline. This time the pitch was inside. He got it right by the pitcher. Would have taken a real good play to get him. There was an opportunity. The second baseman was there, but a little wide throw by the pitcher.
It'll go as a base hit, second bunt single in the ball game for Olmsted, and an error on the pitcher. Count of ball 1 on Mike Langley on the outside corner. 1-1. Langley walked his first time. 300 hitter on the season. Pitch comes to the backstop. Olmsted gets a free ticket to third base.
I was just going to comment, Keith. I wonder if in Little League ball, and I'm sure some coaches do, start teaching their runners, their hitters to hit behind the runner to advance them from second to third in a tight ball game. 5-0 ball game. I don't know if the coach anywhere would want to give up an out to move a runner, but I'm sure they start that way back in Little League baseball.
Nobody out and a runner on third for the South team. And the count is 3 balls and 1 strike on the hitter, Mike Langley.
Plate umpire Diaz has been given a lot of that outside corner the last 2 or 3 innings, and that pitch was about 4 or 5 inches outside, and it looked like he almost threw up that right hand.
Tom Piersa pitching for Stamford, Connecticut. Threw the spinner in there. Looked like he had a little slider, and he swung and
A little
missed.
bit of a break on that ball. Good to see it again. Pierce has pitched high throughout most of this ball game. You can see that pitch was above the waist.
Marietta has not hit a ball to the outfield. They have not hit the ball beyond the infield so far, and that's in the booth. And
I missed it.
Skipper muffed it.
I missed it.
And he gets around the booze.
Wasn't a tough play either, Keith. I
No,
should
it
have had it. I should have had it. As close as we are, I'm going to get another shot before this is over.
3-2 pitch is up high for ball 4. And so now Marietta with runners at first and third and nobody out. Well, it's a chance for Mark Pisciotta, their big hitter. He struck out swinging his first time with 2 on and no out.
And didn't really have a good swing his first time up. Swung a 2 pitches up out of the strike zone.
Big fella stands 6'2".
Looked like Pierce had thrown 2 fastballs right by him, and he tries another fastball.
That's a pretty good stop by Dan Kozak there, too. Backhanding it in the dirt. This is the bottom of the third. Stamford leading Marietta 5-0. Semifinal game, and that pitch is outside.
If you noticed on that center field camera shot that we just had, throughout most of the ball game, Kozak has been sitting on the outside half of the plate. I myself, with a 5-run lead, would want him right back behind there, and he's on that outside portion again.
And the pitcher is outside again.
Now that's where his pitcher is wild. In professional baseball, if we'd spot that, we'd put our catcher all the way on the inside corner to try to help the pitcher bring the ball back into the strike zone. Kozak is staying right out there on the corner.
Runners at first and third. And that pitch is on the corner. To make it a 3-1 count on Pisciotta.
Pierce is hitting the catcher's glove there.
Wind
3-1. 3-2. Well, apparently Mark trying to work him for the walk. And that may have been a pitch that he should have taken a whack at.
Could have, and there's a good possibility he was taking a 3-1 pitch with them still 5 runs down.
Well, it works for him because he does get the base on ball. So he has yielded a bunt single, committed an error, and now walked 2 in a row. It's a tough inning, the toughest inning so far for Tom Pearson. So at third base, you have Adam Olmstead. At second base, Mike Langley. At first base, Mark Pisciotta. And the batter, the cleanup man, Ken Carlson.
We got the people from Georgia up.
It's 5-0 Stamford, but this is Marietta's biggest threat of the ball game right here. Bases loaded, nobody out. They have yet to hit the ball to the outfield, however. That's a foul tip at the plate.
Keith,
And a strike one.
right here, I'm going to have to question the strategy of Stanford's coach. They've got the infield in with a 5-run lead. I think most times in professional baseball, we'd lay back and allow a run to get the double play.
It's hit sharply to the shortstop. He comes to the plate with it. One there.
And that is exactly what I was talking about. In a situation like that, in the major leagues, I don't know if we're right or if we're wrong when we do it, but we play our infield back and we take the 2 outs, shortstop second to first, and allow a run to score, have 2 outs. You'd wind up with only 1 runner on base. You would have conceded a run. The score would be 5-1. In this instance, it's still 5-0 with the force at home plate.
That was a good play by Robertino, and Kozak really blocked that plate well. He just slammed the door, and there was no way in the world Olmstead could get a piece of it. And the throw was good. So you've got 1 out. The bases are still loaded, and your batter is Eric Smith, who was the starting pitcher, now playing shortstop.
And it's possible in Little League Baseball that you don't turn that many double plays, shortstop, second to first, because the bases are only 6.
That ball is well hit in the gap, going to the wall. It's off the wall. Here is one run in for Marietta. Here comes the second run in for Marietta. It's a 5-2 ball game as Eric Smith hits one to the wall in right center.
We get to see it again. And ordinarily, when you see a ball hit like that in professional baseball, in between the center fielder and right fielder, one short hop to the wall, it's going to be a double. But with the fences 200 feet and the outfielders playing deep, that wound up only being a single.
Just a single. Jeff Estes. Ball 1 to Estes. Estes the catcher for Marietta. 5-2 now as Smith's single delivers 2 runs, scoring Langley and Pisciotta. Runners at the corners. 1 out. Rifle shot, foul at third.
Now in this situation with only 1 runner in scoring position, the Stanford club is playing their infield back. The shortstop's back, the second baseman's back. They'll be going for the double play right here.
Two balls and 1 strike as that pitch was outside. Pierce up at 2-1 to Estes. He got the call to make it 2-2.
Estes shakes his head a little bit. He wasn't sure that was a strike. It was a tough pitch to hit, whether it was a strike or a ball.
That's foul.
They get that man in from third base. It'll make it a very tight ball game going into the last 3 innings.
They play 6 in the Little League World Series. With the pitch. In the gap, third baseman cuts it off, throws to home plate, and he's out.
Good decision and a good play. I don't believe he'd have been able to turn it around the infield. They'd have given up the 3rd run. He changed his mind at the last minute. He looked at second base, changed his mind at the last minute. We get to see it again. Pretty well hit ground ball. Third baseman's left. Up with it, takes a look at second, then decides to go home and makes a perfect throw.
Sal DePreda throwing out Ken Carlson at home plate.
Get to see the throw again. It's right on the money and in plenty of time. And again, we get it from another angle. You got to look at second base. That's a good, strong arm that Sal DePreda showed right there.
Now you've got 2 down with 2 on, 2 in, and the batter is David Granate. Swing and a miss. Eric Smith is at second. Jeff Estes at first. Dan Kozak has been busy behind the plate.
Yes, he has. And he's still sitting on that outside corner.
It's a ball.
There's Kozak.
Granate has faced 11 men, struck out 6, yielded no hits as he came on in relief, and has had a base hit himself. He'd like 1 more right here.
They need it, and if the Stanford club can come out of this inning only allowing 2 runs, they've done a tremendous job.
Hit to right field, base hit. Eric Smith turns at third, and he has to hold. So they cannot deliver him from second base. The bases are loaded again now with 2 out. Grenade with 2 base hits in the ball game, and here's your second baseman for Marietta, Georgia, Joe Hutchinson. Semifinal game, Stamford, Connecticut getting 5 runs in the top of the first. Marietta coming back now here in the bottom of the third to get 2. And they've got the bases loaded. A base hit from Hutchinson, and who knows? You might get 2 home. It's 204 feet exactly around the outfield. The outfielders do play deep here, so it's pretty hard to go for 2 bases. He checked on it, and it's high. Time called as John Dellel comes out of the dugout, and I think he wants to talk to his pitcher, Tom Piersa. So let us listen as the manager talks to the pitcher.
How do you feel? Feel all right?
Yeah.
All right. You got 2 down on you. You got to force at any base. How's the pitches? They coming inside? They look like they're on the outside corner. He's not getting any call or not? They're out of strike zone. All right, go after this guy. You got 2 down. He puts it in play. You got to force at any base. All right? Come on, let's get out of the inning.
Still didn't tell that catcher to move back inside, though, did he?
No, he didn't. He asked both the pitcher and the catcher if the ball was in the strike zone, and they both honestly said no, they're not.
Tom Piersa ready at 2 balls and no strikes. And he gets it on the corner. I haven't kept track, Earl, but I don't think young Tom has had very many strikes inside. I think you're right on it. That virtually all of his pitches have been away. That was close.
Ordinarily, if I go out and I talk to my pitcher and my catcher, I'll have a few words with the pitcher first. On the way back to the dugout, I'll kind of motion the catcher over and ask only the catcher if the strikes or balls are in or out of the strike zone, because you're more apt to get an honest answer that way.
3 balls and a strike to Hutchinson. Ball 4 that forces in a run. It's 5-3 Stamford. All right, John Dellel is out there.
All right, take right field. All right, don't worry about it. Nice game.
And he's going to make the change. So he goes to the outfield, and you've got a pitching change for Stamford. Tom Piersa, unable to make it through the third, goes to the outfield, but the anguish of his young moment reflected on his face. Those are tears.
He's fighting them back. He's trying to hold them back, but boy, that's a tough situation.
Chris Forte comes in from left field to relieve Piersa as they swap positions. And young Chris has completed his warm-ups now, and he will try to get the third out here in the bottom of the third inning with 3 runs in and the bases loaded.
In the 9th hitter at the plate. 9th hitter of the inning at the plate.
Johnny Atkins, the center fielder. Atkins struck out looking his first time against Piersa. Back to the pitcher. Lob to the plate, and Forte does his job. 1 pitch, and gets the third out. And all 3 outs in the bottom of the third inning recorded at the plate. But it's a big inning for Marietta, Georgia, as they come back to score 3 runs. And it's now Stamford 5, Marietta 3 after 3 innings.
I really don't know why he went home here with 2 men out, but it was successful and ended the inning, and they still have a 2-run lead.
Adam Olmsted leads off for Marietta, Georgia here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Marietta in the bottom of the 3rd batted around and got back in the ball game, scoring 3 times. Stamford still leading 5-3. Chris Forty in relief of Tom Pierce goes to 2 balls and no strikes on Olmsted. Stamford had a mild threat in the top of this inning, but moved no one across the plate. So the ball game is at 5-3 in the first of 2 semifinal games in the Little League World Series. Second scheduled hitter for Marietta will be Mike Langley, followed by Mark Pisciotta.
Olmsted's been on base twice with beat out a bunt twice. Now looking for a base on balls.
Three balls and 1 strike. He's moving around. He started out, he took 2 on the left side, then went over to the right side and got a strike. Now he goes back to the other side where he was more effective at getting the base on balls.
Well, he's on base, and that's the 3rd time today. That's the type of leadoff hitter you want, I guess. He can certainly confuse the pitcher.
Started out left-handed, went to the right side, went back and got his free ticket. Now it's Mike Langley. And Forty gets a strike on him.
He's looked him over real good today. He has 2 base on balls.
There are 14 players on these teams, so there's a swinging strike. You see a lot of moving around. Chris Forty started in left field, came on to pitch in relief of Tom Pierce. Pierce went to play left field. We had a similar change. In fact, we had a 3-man change on the Marietta side. That ball is down the right side and is caught by the right fielder. Greg Padilla makes the catch. Really squeezed it.
As the ball was hit, it's not hit well, hit off the handle into right field. As the ball was hit, right fielder Padilla, he went back a step or 2, but then recovered and came in and made an outstanding diving play.
And he's hurt a little bit on the play. As time is called for him, the manager goes out to check him. That's John DeLille.
Looks like he jammed his left wrist.
Oh, we're looking at the right hand, I think it is.
Right hand.
He will stay. No, that's McLaughlin. They have moved Brian McLaughlin over to right field from center. Well, that was the defensive change that they had made. And Brian came up with a fine play. And they have moved Padilla over into, I think he's in center. The batter is Mark Pisciotta for Marietta. 1 out and 1 on. And a 2-ball, no strike count to it. Ball gets away from the catcher, comes to the backstop, and the runner, Olmsted, moves up to second base. That might be a pass ball.
Well, this fella has 6 home runs in the regional tourney. He's a tie and run. He might be swinging.
Outside corner.
Good pitch on the outside part of the plate. It's a good thing he didn't swing at that, because all he could have done was hit a ground ball to the second baseman.
The count is 3-1. on Pisciotta. That's ball 4. Bottom of the 4th inning, and Marietta trailing by 2 in a 5-3 ball game, trying to get some more. Runners at first and second, 1 out for Ken Carlson.
Have to give the Marietta club a little credit. They didn't hang their heads when the 5 runs went on the board against them in the first inning.
Not.
I'd have to move Cossack back behind that plate a little bit. They've continually been missing on the outside corner. Of course, it's no time of the ball game to serve up the fat one with the winning run at home plate.
That's well hit into left field, gets by the left fielder, goes to the wall. Here comes 1 run in. Here comes 2 runs. The game is tied. It is a double for Carlson.
Here it is again. The pitch was right down the middle of the plate, hit hard past the shortstop. The left fielder stumbles as he goes to his left, and the ball rolls to the wall, while the 2 tying runs score and the winning runs at second base.
And the batter is Eric Smith, and the pitch is a strike. 1 out.
Well, there's some happy people in Marietta, Georgia right now, and one of them is my son, Michael.
1 ball and 1 strike. It's been a hard day for young Tom Piercer. He's in left field, and he lost his footing, and the ball got by him.
If he'd have cut the ball off, they'd still be protecting a 1-run lead.
1 ball and 2 strikes as Smith swings and misses. You have 1 out, and you have the go-ahead run at second base in Ken Carlson. That's a foul tip at the plate, and Kozak, the catcher, cannot hang on to it. Chris Forty pitches, hard shot off the pitcher's glove. Shortstop comes in, makes the play, not in time. Runner has to hold, however, at second base.
Ball was hit well. Forty was in position. We get to see it again. Right back at him. He was in position. It just came back a little quick for him to get his glove up. Shortstop Robertino made a good play in recovering and almost threw him out at first base.
Forty pitches now to Jeff Estes, and that's foul. In that first inning, when Stamford, Connecticut scored its 5 runs, they had only 2 hits. Marietta, Georgia now, for its 5 runs, total 7 base hits. Grenade came on in that first inning, and he has shut him down. And Marietta's back in the ball game, even at 5.
How important those relief pitchers are. Of course, Grenade probably starts a lot of ball games for him off and on during the course of the season.
A 1-1 count to Eric Smith with 1 out and 2 on, and that's a strike. The winner of this one gets the winner of the Japan-Dominican Republic game for the championship. High bouncer, shortstop. Goes to third, gets the 3rd out on the lead runner, 2nd out on the lead runner. So he went the short way. Robertino throwing to DePetra.
And the more I think about it, the more that short throw makes sense in Little League Baseball. Get your closest out and don't take a chance of throwing the ball across the infield.
Estes on at first with the fielder's choice, and here is Grenade, and a swing and a miss.
The bases are only 16 feet apart also, so you might not have time to make 2 long throws on a double play.
That's a roller into center. Oh, it's knocked down, but the second baseman, and the runner holds at third. If he'd have come on, he might have made it.
I think he would have made it. Third base coach was holding him all the way. He might be having second thoughts himself right now.
With 2 out, Marietta has the bases loaded. Another look at the play.
Ground ball right back through the middle. Second baseman made a real fine job of getting to it. Badeggia hustled it up, but there certainly would have been time for the run to score if the coach had sent him.
Badeggia was well out in center field by the time he had a handle on it and got himself in throwing position. And Eric Smith being held all the way at third base. He might very well have pounded home if he just kept coming. He'd have made it close.
He'd have been in, Keith. Foul tip.
Here are your base runners. Grenade at first, Estes at second, and Smith over at third. Smith, of course, is the man they want to get home. He's the man at third base. And the pitch is high to make it 2 balls and a strike to Joe Hutchinson. We're all even, 5-5 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Chris Forney's pitch bounces away, comes to the backstop. Smith comes in from third, and the Marietta team has taken the lead 6-5.
Pitch that was sinking on the inside half of the plate. Kosak being on the outside had to reach far to his left and just couldn't stop it.
So the wild pitch gets in the go-ahead run. The ball is hit into right field, hit well. They won't have a play. It goes to the wall. Another run scores, and pounding all the way home from second base is Grenade. And the play at second base on Hutchinson. He's in there, and Marietta now has jumped out to an 8-5 lead.
Just a pitch on the outside half of the plate that's hit well in between the outfielders. And hold just how fast things can change in a baseball game.
2 out for Johnny Atkins, and now Richard Hilton's morale has soared over in that south dugout. They've scored 5 runs here in the bottom of the 4th inning to take an 8-5 lead, and that's hit in the air on the right side for the first baseman. Chartier makes the catch and foul ground. The inning is finally over, but the Marietta team from the south batted around. And right now, after 4 innings of play, the South leads the East by a score of 8-5. Stamford, Connecticut, now trailing by 3 against Marietta, Georgia, will come to bat in the top of the 5th inning with Greg Padilla, Stan DePreta, and Mike Baldiga. Padilla with a 3-run home run, and has been hit by the pitcher. There's a hard one-hopper to the shortstop, and the throw is in time, and 1 out.
Padilla swings that bat good. Good strong swing.
Eric Smith throwing across to Pisciotta for the first out, and Sal DePreta comes to the plate, the third baseman. He looks like he means business. He swings at an inside pitch and fouls it back. A 5-run explosion for Marietta in the bottom of the 4th inning to give them the lead. So they scored 3 in the bottom of the 3rd, 5 in the 4th, and they totaled 9 base hits in the ball game. All of Stamford's runs came in the top of the 1st inning. And there's another one that Earl Weaver missed.
I wasn't ready for that one. I don't know if I could have reached it or not, Keith.
2-strike count.
I'm going to get one here, though, before we leave.
One out, nobody on. Garnett pitching for the South representative. He has not allowed a hit since he came on in the first inning with one out in relief of Smith. And he is just ripped for one to center field by DeFreda.
That's the first hit off the slow curveball that Garnett's been throwing today. Was a 2-strike pitch also. I wonder if they're starting to think with the pitcher at that age. He's been throwing that pitch with 2 strikes. He tried it with DePietri with 2 strikes, and it was thrown for a base hit, and there's a wild pitch.
And it moves DeFreda up to second base. Baldega the batter. And it doesn't look like that Stanford's going to quit either.
I call that a wild pitch that could be scored as a pass ball.
Two balls and no strikes. That's fouled away. I'll tell you one thing. Little Mark comes up there with that piece of aluminum and he gets his cuts.
Yes, he does. Choked up maybe 2 or 3 inches on the bat.
3 balls and a strike now. 1 out. DeFreda at second base. That's going to be a base hit. Flag down by the shortstop. Hutchinson can't make a play on it, but a dandy defensive plays by the second baseman, Joe Hutchinson.
Outstanding play on a very hard hit ball up the middle.
That moves DeFreda over to third.
Pitch was hit well. The pitcher had no chance for it. Hutchinson making a diving catch. Had no chance to throw to first base. Checked the lead runner. Checked the lead runner, and it saved a run.
And it brings to the plate Brian Chartier, the first baseman. And that pitch comes to the backstop off the catcher's glove, and the run scored. Runner breaks for third. He's safe.
And we've got some excitement. The Stanford Ball Club didn't lay down and die. They came right back to life. Let me tell you, that little Bodega, he can run.
He can.
See it again here. Pitch off the catcher's glove. If he fields it cleanly the first time, he's got him out at home plate. It was close there.
Well, that could go as a wild pitch, I would think, wouldn't you?
Really, that's why I wouldn't want to be an official scorer. That is strictly up to the official scorer. And if it's a wild pitch, the pitcher gets mad. If it's pass ball, the catcher gets mad.
Chartier fouls it away. It's an 8-6 ball game. Over at third, Baldega, he just flew from first to third.
Run.
That pitch is high and away from Garnett. So now David having some trouble getting the ball down where his catcher, Jeff Estes, can handle it. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. That's a little looper. It's going to drop for a base hit, and here comes Baldega to score for Stanford. It's an 8-7 ball game. So Brian Chartier knocks in the 7th run. And still we see no move by Richard Hilton to make a pitching change for Marietta. The batter now is Tom Pearsall. Two balls and no strikes to Pearsall.
Garnett, for a while, looked like he was untouchable. The minute the Marietta club got the lead, Stanford club bounced right back.
8-7 ball game. That's a strike. Count is 2-1. There's your tying run on first base, Brian Chartier. Oh, he almost threw that one away.
He's trying to overthrow now. He's trying to throw that ball just a little bit harder than he possibly can. And as a result, he's not hitting the spots that he did earlier.
That's foul. And that makes it 3 balls, 2 strike count. 1 out. Dan Kozak will be the next hitter, unless Marietta can turn the double play. Well, Grenade gets a big man. He gets the second out as he strikes out Pirsa and brings up Kozak. There's a set jaw for you. Strike 1.
Well, he has his ribs, and he's big enough. If he gets that bat on the ball, we could see a new leader in this ball game again.
Chartier at first base representing the tying run with 2 down. 2 strikes. And all of a sudden, Garnett now is throwing good strikes.
Take a little off.
Line drive, base hit, left field. Chartier stops at second base. Kozak is aboard with a solid single, and the top of the order, 40, scheduled to the plate. Tying run now at second base. He just nailed it, drilled it to left. Mike Langley covering it well out there. There's the manager of Marietta, Richard Hilton. His coach is Dickie Thomas, and the pitch to 40 is high. Nope, it's in there for a strike.
Keith, I thought I heard the coach holler right before that pitch, take a little bit off, and he did, but he got it on the inside half of the plate, and it was hit hard.
When he gets a little twist, I don't know whether you would call it a slider or not. The ball's not really not breaking that much, but he's got a little bit of spin on it.
Somewhere in between. It's like a sailing fastball.
And he's got his second strike. That pitch is outside to make it 1 and 2.
Seems like he's starting to point the ball with 2 strikes, trying to make too good a pitch. In place of just letting it go.
2 runs are in for Stamford, Connecticut. And Chris Forty got just enough of it to stay alive. Just barely foul-tipped it away. There's Kozak, the big catcher. Chartier's up at second base. That ball is hit out into the gap between left and center. It's to the wall. Here comes the tying run to the plate. And we're all even at 8 as Chartier scores from second.
And we've got some exciting ball game here. Seen emotion from both teams, both sides. Ups, downs, highs and lows. It's quite an experience for me.
Well, they're scrappers. All tied at 8. And it's Lou Robertino facing Garnett and a strike. The go-ahead run now for Stamford is at third base in Dan Kozak. Chris Forty with a double is at second base. 2 down. That ball is popped up. Second baseman Hutchinson drops back, makes the catch. The inning is over. But Stamford, Connecticut has fought back here in the top of the 5th inning. And this ball game is tied at 8-8.
Get it out, what out? Just pay attention.
semifinal game of the Little League World Series. Marietta, Georgia at bat. Eric Smith to lead it off, to be followed by Jeff Estes and David Gurnait. The score is 8-8 as Stamford, Connecticut led 5-0. Marietta battled back to trail 5-3, then took the lead 8-5, and then Marietta watched Stamford score 3 in the top of the 5th, but in the top of the 6th, David Gurnait got him in order, 1, 2, 3, and now in this tie ball game, Marietta with a chance to win their way to the championship game. Eric Smith was the starting pitcher and yielded 5 runs to Stamford. So he's a bit off. He is off the hook, as a matter of fact, as the pitcher. He switches over from right-handed to left-handed and takes the pitch inside and gets ball 4. So that's the second time in the ball game that we have had a hitter do that.
Well, evidently that must confuse the pitcher to some extent. I've never seen it done in the big leagues, but it might be worth a try. Some manager.
Grunwald running for Smith.
Number 7 for
Keith
Smith.
Grunwald has gone in to run for Eric Smith. So Richard Hilton, getting the winning run on first base, puts in some speed. I'm sure that Keith Grunwald is probably the fastest man available to him off the bench among the 4 reserves, or 5 reserves. Chris Forte on the mound for Stamford, Connecticut, trying to hold things in order as he pitches to Jeff Estes, the Marietta catcher, and gets a strike. That is a foul ball.
No thoughts of the sacrifice right here so far, Keith.
Nope.
Been a very exciting game. Might not be one of the best played I've seen this year, but it's certainly one of the most exciting.
Threw it inside on the hands and struck him out for the first out of the inning. The winning run stays at first base, and the batter is David Gurnait.
Well, he came in 5-0, kept his team in the ball game on the mound. He could certainly be a hero here with an extra base hit.
That's a foul ball. You noted the fact that the sacrifice was not executed. I was just trying to remember how many times I saw an Earl Weaver team sacrifice.
Well, it would be in this situation, Keith, where you only had
sure.
1 inning to go, and that when that winning run ran across the plate, you could all go home.
This an 8-8 tie. Gurnait bounces the ball to left. The shortstop, Robertino, cannot come up with it. The runners move up, and the winning run now is at second base in the person of Grunwald.
I have to feel that was a base hit all the way. It bounced over the third baseman's head. Robertino got over there in front of it and knocked it down. I don't think he would have had to play at either base if he comes up.
Gurnait now is 4 for 4. The pitch to Joe Hutchinson. Ball 1. Keith Grunwald running for Eric Smith, representing the winning run at second base. That's ball 2. Number 7. There's David Gurnait on first base with his 4th base hit. Forte's pitch is on the corner to make the count 2-1. 1 out. Inside. There is a breeze blowing toward right, and it's fairly brisk at the moment. Foul back. Keith Grunwald at second base, representing the winning run. If he gets across home plate, then Marietta, Georgia will be in the championship game against the winner of the semifinal matchup between Japan and Dominican Republic. That pitch is outside and almost thrown to the backstop. All 4 to Hutchinson.
I'd have to think, Keith, that the squeeze play would be out of order in Little League Baseball. We're going to get a little pitching change here.
Talk to him. Outfielders. I can talk to him, right? Everybody play in. A ball to the out. Got to cut that run off at the plate. A fly ball's got to go home. He's the winning run. He's got to stop. Tell Greg
Well, John Dallel had come out to talk to Tom Pierce, and though the microphone was cutting out a little bit, I'm sure you got the gist of what he was saying, that playing deep doesn't mean anything for the man on third base. He is the winning run. You got to come in and back up the infield, and the play has to go to the plate.
Yes, it does. There's no sense of catching the ball on a warning track right now because you wouldn't throw the winning run out at home plate. So you play as deep as you feel that you can catch a fly ball and still have time to throw the man from third base out at the plate.
The pitch is outside.
Ball one. And getting back to the squeeze play, with the runners not being able to leave their bases until after the ball reaches home plate, it would make it very difficult to put the ball on the ground and be able to score from third base.
Johnny Atkins is the man at the plate. There's a strike. 1-1. Winning run right there. Keith Grunwald running for Eric Smith. Smith had been walked by 40.
Cossack still on the outside part of that plate.
Back to the mound. 40 has it. Comes to the plate. And Grunwald is cut down. That's 2 out.
Ground ball hit that slowly. Almost any place else you'll see it goes right back to the pitcher. It wasn't hit hard. 2 hops back to the pitcher. 40 smothered it, took his time, a throw at home plate. But if that ball goes by, the game would be over.
The bases remain loaded. And the top of the order, Olmstead down the line, fair ball, base hit. Marietta wins the game as Gurnett scores from third.
And we've got a very happy young Brian Chartier. He's on the field with his head down. The ball was hit hard, and sometimes in a situation like that at Knuckles, the coach is out there picking him up. It'll take him some time to get over it, but I'm sure he will. All his teammates are out there shaking his hand, telling him to forget about it. There's not much you can do about it. The ball game's over. One of the bad parts of this is they can't come back tomorrow. In professional baseball, you play 162 games. You play 162 games, there's a chance to redeem yourself tomorrow, but in this instance, that's it for the season.
And so it was a seesaw contest with Stamford, Connecticut jumping out to a 5-0 lead. Then Marietta coming back to trail 5-3. Then lead 8-5. Then they tied it at 8-8. And in the bottom of the all and Marietta the South defeats Stamford by a score of 9-8 to go into the championship game.